Welcome to this January 9th edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Bisting. Joining me is co-host Nikita Robinson. Happy New Year, Kita. I didn't get a chance to say that to you before. Happy New Year to you. I hope you had somewhat of a good holiday season.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year to you too, and to our listeners.
Yes. Well, we know we had two Premier Division matches on today. A total of 18 goals scored. One game was in the East, one game was in the West. I'm pretty sure the spectators that went would have got their money's worth, whether their team won or lost, or they just wanted to see a lot of goals. It was 9 goals in the East and 9 goals in the West. So plenty of goals in what 180 minutes of football today.
Yeah, that's a lot of goals. And again, the teams that won were expected to win, and I appreciate the dominance. Now, COVID has hit some teams, right? So I don't know if that had any bearing on the teams that were on the other end, but it's good to see Dandytown winning by that margin. I like that because that is the expectation that it happened. All right, so it'll show a good level of football was played. And then on the other side, St. George's dominating Rangers on a small field, but St. George's is usually the home field is a big field. Again, shows that the team that was supposed to win the match won the match and won it convincingly. And again, I don't know if Rangers is hit by COVID and have absentees, but whilst there's a large numbers, I'm happy that teams are dominating and showing what they can do. Coaches are putting in work, and of course I'm going to be elated for St. George's. My best friends, they're coaching, along with Giroux, and it's a good feel. I watched them play PAC. And St. George's, hey, they're dark horses. I'm going to tell you, they're the dark horses of the league this year.
Well, they moved up to 4th place. They're 1 point behind Devonshire. They're 4 points behind Devonshire Cougars, who have 20 points. They got the point from the Crossroads game earlier this week. So they're in the mix there. But Dandytown Hornets, like you said earlier, league leaders, they're 10 points ahead of everyone. They have 2 games in hand on both PHC and Devonshire Cougars, and they have 1 game in hand over St. George's. St. George's and Somerset have played the same amount of games as 9. North Village have played 10. North Village and Somerset have 15 points. But when you start looking at the fact that Dandytown, right from the beginning, dominated the match, up 6-0 at the end of the first half. It would be a bit of concern for the coaching staff, as they were only able to score once in the second half, and basically got outscored because Crossroads scored twice. Don't know what tactics they used to change it up, but obviously Dandytown would have wanted to really stamp their authority in the second half, or if they tried something different and it just didn't work.
Yeah, I'll find out the answer on Tuesday.
If it's got any hair left in your head?
Yeah, I'll have a conversation about that on Tuesday. But no, as a coach, right, you have 6-0 at the half. It's quite obvious that they're not going to come back. You're going to get to 3 points. Maybe tactics change. Looking forward to the next match, whoever they have. Maybe putting some people in that haven't had time. So maybe, all those different factors come into play. They would have wanted a shutout, a clean sheet. Didn't happen. Maybe those goals were scored where the coaches can now look and say, this is why that happened. Maybe it was a player on the field that caused the goals, and maybe now the coaches have a leg to stand on for the next match and say, hey, I do know that Coach Jenkins does a lot of virtual blackboard stuff. So they will get to see their games. Their games are recorded. They watch them. They analyze. So I know he'll be able to go back and look at that and say, hey, this is what happened, or this is why um, you're not starting, or we'll know what to work on to avoid those goals being scored. But truth be told, at the end of the day, 7-2 or 17-2, it's still the same, right? So I would bet that the coach would have changed things up a little bit, and gave some people a run. Remember last week, there was a lot of football being played. So in a match like that, I would assume that there was some sort of rotation, to make sure that when the tougher teams come around, that they're able to dominate like they did. I still think the league is won. My boys got one over them, but at the end of the day, I think that the league is won, and that they're now started this half in such a fine form. I mean, it would be a great result and a great confidence booster for them going into the next few matches.
Definitely, definitely. And for them, we talked about this last week, where Sequoia Robinson has now scored 2 hat tricks in 2 weeks. Prior to that, he was struggling to find the back of the net. Even against North Village, he struggled. He had opportunities to score, and it just wasn't bouncing his way. They sit him, bring him on, and now he's back-to-back hat tricks. So the coaching staff working with players to ensure that they get the maximum out of them. I think for this particular woman, it worked.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the case, right? Sometimes you just get into sometimes type of a slump. You get back on the training ground, and you work on those things. So great response. Kudos to Sequoia to come back and say, hey, I'm been in a slump. I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of doing, and so I'm gonna show it. And unfortunately, of course, you were on the receiving end of that. But again, for Sequoia, a good game to get his scoring boots back. You know what I mean? Just being comfortable with finding the net. And in the attacking end of the field, a lot of times we don't spend time with that in that side. That's more creative, and as a coach, you just expect your people to score goals. Like, get in front of the girls, score goals. But it becomes a habit, and so now the team should be able to kick on from this.
Definitely. One of the things, I'm just looking, Dennytown have scored several goals. They scored 5 or 6, 5, beat Rangers 5-0 last week, and then have now defeated Crossroads. So scoring goals is not a problem for them. They've actually scored a total of 32 goals and only letting in 9. The only team that's letting in less is Devonshire Cougars, who have only let in 4. But North Village have only let in 9 as well. But their problem is scoring, because they've only scored 15. But having the most goals scored, 32, for Dennytown right now is playing right into their favor, because they're able to dominate teams by taking the pressure off of themselves by scoring goals and not giving up many.
Yeah, it'd be interesting too to see the girls' scores for Dennytown. Like, are they getting girls from all over the pitch? That's very hard to stop.
Right.
If they're getting girls from all over the pitch, then that's what's allowing them to score that many goals. As opposed to some teams solely rely on certain individuals to score goals.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Angelo's got 6. Now Sequoia's got 7. They're getting goals from other players. Tamika Goda's got 4. Jermaine Bean Lindo, he's got 2. They've had a group of people, and then down the line they've had one from Oniko Lowe. Kamali Davis scored twice today, so he's got 3. Matthew Mello Can has got 1. So they're getting goals from individuals in different areas, which is actually helping them, and it's not all on Angelo and Sequoia.
Yeah, and so that that's huge, right? If you can get girls from all over the pitch, how do you defend that, right? You do have some teams that have people that cannot score goals. People don't believe that, but on the pitch, no, they can't score goals. They couldn't hit
Yeah.
the target to save the goal, right? So that is awesome, and I think that's great, and that's going to make Dannytown a very difficult team to beat. Yes, North Philly did beat them 2-0. There could have been a lot of factors in that. You know what I mean? Going into that match, obviously Village had players back from overseas. Danny Tom riding high, Village in a slump. It's one of those things that happened. It was a victory that was obviously welcomed, but it wasn't one that was like, oh yeah, now Danny Tom's going to be in a slump. Danny Tom's beatable. You know what I mean? It was one of those days. Kudos to North Village. They did the job that needed to be done. Different persons were on the field in different areas, namely D. Bow and the goal, which is huge. But I never doubted for a second that slip up was going to mean that Danny Tom was going to be in a downward spiral. Even when they played Robin Hood, I think was their next match, and Robin Hood, they just beat them 2-1. People were still saying, "Oh, yeah, see, no, they're not able to dominate this and the other." And bang, turn around today, we're back. So hey, kudos, man, great job. I nothing else I can say. That Danny Tom is setting the standard, of where it is we need to be.
Right. Now let's take a look at Crossroads, because they win last week. That they won their second game of the season, 4-3 victory over Somerset Eagles. But then midweek they get the news that they've lost the points for not showing up against Devonshire Cougars, and then they're brought right back down to earth with this 7-2 loss. I mean, how do you rally your troops? Because I mean, time's running out. They are 2 points behind Robin Hood. They've played one more game than Robin Hood, but they're time's running out. We're in the second half of the season now. When do you start pressing the emergency button as a coach?
First game of the season. When do you start? When do you start? You have to. You have. I feel for Crossroads, right? I mean, they got a bunch of pretty decent individuals and guys that that want to play, that want to represent the club. They just don't have the development process that's actually needed for them to be sustainable in the Premier League. They are unfortunately a first division team. And then going into this match, I mean, you win the game, then you get told that you're losing points, that you thought that it was agreed upon, that everybody understood the reason why the game was being canceled. And then I got to face Dandytown. Seriously? I mean, it's like, yes, I'm high. Oh, hang on a second. Really? Oh, yeah, that's something that we could do. Oh, boy, Dandytown. That's tough, right? Like, how do you prepare the players for that? How do you go into this match? And then at 6-0 down, it'd be interesting to know what the coach spoke about. Obviously, he rallied his troops because they went on and won the second half 2-1. Again, I don't know how much of that was Dandytown's doing, but at the end of the day, that it's not easy. Their mental game and their physical game couldn't match up because they're thinking, oh, I won my first match, and now I'm preparing to go play Dandytown. But then midweek, oh, you lost points in a match that it was obviously agreed upon, that everyone understood why it was being canceled and that it had to be canceled. So I feel for the coaching staff. I know they're working hard and doing the best that they can. But it's Dandytown.
Wouldn't you say winning that second half, or push the score aside, because you got to pick out things that you could rally your troops on? So winning the second half, would that be something positive you will take into training this week in order to lift the spirit of the players for the next match?
Oh, absolutely. And at the end of the game, the coach may have said, like, guys, imagine if we played like this in the first half. Yeah? Did you save some? Did you wait until now it was out of our hands to start to play? So I'm sure that there were positives from that second half that the coach can use moving into their next match.
Definitely. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to break down the St. George's and the Southampton Rangers game, just like we done the Dendy Town Crossroads. We'll be right back.
John Barrett & Son, Bermuda's foremost distributor of fine beverages, is bringing on the joyful festivities this winter with Barrett Stone Ginger Beer. We've extolled the virtues of this traditional Bermudian drink before. It's refreshing and spicy and wonderful in the kitchen. Google cooking with ginger beer and you'll be amazed by the diversity and wow factor of the recipes. As our good friend Bruce Barrett says, bubbly, tasty, full of spice, refreshing and exciting. When it hits your taste buds, mate, full flavor is igniting. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the game, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. Still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda?
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
Welcome back. Well, St. George's, their last two games had been postponed due to COVID issues. They finally got a chance to get back on the field, and a lot of pent up, I guess, aggression, emotion, so many things going on at the East End. They got off to a fast start, up 2-0 after 20 something minutes, 28 minutes. And just went on from there. Just they were leading 4-0 at the end of the first half, scored 4 times in the second half, and then Rangers scored a consolation goal. But the spirits, it has to be able to lift the spirits, knowing that you're able to put away that many chances. Earlier in the season, we were commenting that St. George's was winning by the odd goal or losing by the odd goal here and there, other than the loss to North Village. But today was a day that everything that they were looking to do over the season actually came right.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I'd ever say, like, I'm actually happy for St. George's. A lot of what they've been doing throughout the season would have led to today's result, right? Along with all the emotion that they're carrying, and the motivation behind the emotion. So, the game against PAC, yes, they had 2 games postponed. But I watched that game against PAC, and there was so many positives for St. George's coming from that match. They lost 3-2, but I know that the coaching staff would have looked and seen where they can tweak it. And against PAC was very slow start. They were very more defensive. They didn't go at PAC until a little bit later in the match. Obviously, they learned from that, and today they came out the blocks flying, right? They played front foot football. So that's good homework by the coaching staff and good buy-in from the players to know, let's right this wrong. Like, we have to score goals, And so I think all the games that they played up until this point have led them to have the result that they had today. And, kudos to them. Obviously work on the training ground. They gotta fight through a lot of emotions, and I feel for them because I know that it's always right there. That the void, it'll never be the same for them. But they're fighting, and I just applaud them, because some people could just roll over and say, what, it is what it is. But they are making the most of this situation, and right now they are carrying an entire community on their back, and they're doing a great job at it. So Rangers just happen to be on the other side of it today.
Pretty much just like Dendy Town carrying the same weight as well, and going through and have that emotional time all the time as well. But for St. George's, I want to say it's fresher, it's newer, it's right, it's here. You know what I mean? And they still have this emotional week with the funeral next weekend. So it's going to be some time for them. It's a healing time. It's a come together time. And I think playing takes just a little bit away from that whilst you're playing. And then you know, your attention is back to you know, your mate, your friend, your buddy, your everything. You know what I mean? So I think them being able to come out today and display what they're capable of doing, and like you said, over the course of the season, today's result is a testament to just that what they've been attempting to do finally came good, and unfortunately for Southampton Rangers, they were on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, and you know, again, it will be a learning curve for St. George's as well. You know, allowing a consolation goal in the 83rd minute. What happened there? I would assume that they also had the opportunity to give some players a run. And, you know, look at some different tactics, things that they've probably been thinking about doing. And you know, this game afforded them that opportunity. You know, and now it's pressing on from here. You know, I've actually been very impressed with this steady incline of the St. George's team. I probably watched more St. George's games than North Village games this year, to be honest.
Got the tracksuit yet?
No, sir. No.
Oh, you're still wearing red?
Yeah. Actually, I wore blue and blue, and they played Robin Hood that day. I took some licks for that for a minute, but I gotta support my brother wherever I can. He supported me my whole life, so I gotta support him.
Sure. And for Rangers, obviously they're in the predicament, same as Crossroads. Time's running out. If they're looking to stay up, they have 5 points. They are 3 points behind Robin Hood, who have 8. The 1 point behind Crossroads, and the 1 point above Somerset Eagles. Now, here's the thing: those 4 teams still have to play each other again. It's important that when you face those teams, if you're one of those 4 teams, when you're facing those teams, you're at your healthiest, your most sensible, you know, and your most level-headed, because the difference between a 1-0 win and a 1-0 loss for any one of those teams is a 6-point turnaround.
Yep.
You know, so it's making sure that okay, let's let this one go. This one is over. We didn't beat St. George's, but we still have down the road for Southampton Rangers. They still have Somerset Eagles, Crossroads, and Robin Hood to play. Win those 3, and you're kind of safe. You know, depending on what those others do. But if you beat the teams around you, you know, we talked to Ray Jones, second or third week into the season, and that's what he was saying. Beat the teams that you feel you should be beating, and that takes away a lot of the other stuff. And then you can throw in an upset here and there. I mean, you know, you said it. North Village caught Dendytown, caught them. You know, Dendytown was running hard.
I agree. Streaker will have to, you know, kind of rally his troops around. I mean, they had a decent result against North Village. You know, they had a decent result against Somerset. You know, 2 teams that was hands down expected to beat them. So it will be now looking at what did we do? How did we prepare for those games? What did training look like that week? Because this is going to have to, you know, this is a humbling result. You know, you don't see 7s and 8s and 9s too often in Bermuda football in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So he will have to know his work this week is going to be tough. You know, a lot of times in Bermuda, I ain't getting trained. We can't be in any way we can. And it needs to be quite the opposite now. It needs to be, guys, we need to now come together. We need to work hard for each other. And this game's now is done and dusted. Nothing we can do about this result. So we can't change or we can't have an effect on what happens in the next match.
Right. Well, one of the things Rangers are struggling with are numbers, and of course, Stricker had to play in goal again today, but only lasted 24 minutes because he was then injured and had to be replaced. He was needed upstairs.
Man, that's so unfortunate, man. But it's funny, but it's not, because it's just showing that, like, our numbers. And you got some teams that have too many players, and you have some teams that don't have enough. And back in the day, that was so unheard of in the Premier League. First division, you have not enough, and people have to pull out of the league. But in the Premier League, to not have enough players, where the coach has to play, that's so unfortunate. So I don't know what's going to happen or how that's going to change. But
I know Sean Parent-Chief had been playing in goal, but he had a groin injury where he couldn't kick the ball from goal kicks and stuff. And those games in that short period of time, not being able to allow the injury to heal, kind of forced him out and forced Stricker into playing. 2 weeks in a row, not really trained. Goalkeeping like that is, muscle memory, but hey, it's going to take a little while to bounce back. But obviously, the body's saying, hey, we could do it once. You're asking too much of us now. And of course, he's come down with an injury that forced him out of the game. And unfortunately, he had to be replaced. You put someone else in goal, and, you're just hoping to get out of the 90 minutes or the 60 odd minutes. With the least amount of damage emotionally, because as we know, our young men are not very strong emotionally. Don't take losing very well. They can handle it when they're winning, but it's tough when they're losing, because the sulking, the attitude, all the negative vibes come in, and hopefully someone can rally Southampton Rangers, because it's not over yet for them. There's an avenue for them to survive, but they have to, like you said, come together in order to do so.
Yeah, I've had conversations too with people, and we probably need to adopt the learn system. Especially you got those teams that's top heavy numbers wise, and guys are not getting on the field. With the COVID now, games are being postponed or canceled. Guy that's not. Village have 3 or 4 goalkeepers. Rangers have 1. Baby. And hey, you can't play against no Village. So Rangers 1 goalkeeper better be ready for that match. But you know what I mean. And look at it that way. Of course, it's going to be. I understand no players to help this other team win games. You know what I mean. We have to kind of look outside the box. I don't have the answers, but I would rather that than to see us go from having the amount of Premier League teams we have to having 5 or 6 Premier League teams, because that will be the beginning of the end for sure. I look at the PDL. We don't, even when we have PDL under 17s, and we have 4 teams at under 17 level. I would hate for that to end up filtering up into the Premier League. So that's all I can really say on that. I don't know. Rangers don't have a junior program.
Right. They're
not one that's, and they have the younger ones as far as I know, but not ones where they could feed into the senior team.
We're years away from that. And a lot of teams are like that. They're years away from having those young people if they stay at the club. And that's the other problem, because a lot of these kids don't stay at the club. They move on. The parents move them on to a different program, or they go to another sport. So I think the collectiveness of coaching and clubs, utilizing and getting the best out of everyone, as opposed to I only want the best and everybody else, you guys can go somewhere else kind of thing. I think that's what's hurting. And you make a valid point with a loan system like you have some players who haven't even put on a jersey this year.
Nope.
But they're registered, but they can't move now because the transfer period's over. And I understand there are rules. But if the opportunity was there, I think it's an opportunity that we should try to think about and utilize.
Correct. I agree. I mean, it will have more people playing, more young players, more younger players playing as well, and I think it's something that can be sustainable, even if it's for a set period of time.
Right.
If say for instance, if Rangers the numbers are low, hey, for the next 3 months you have this player, and then you'll come back, or have the freedom to pull your player back whenever your team might get hit. You know what I mean, with interest and stuff. But it's something to think about.
Well, they do have. I mean, everywhere has, especially in the professional world, they have a learning system. So it's just one of those things where the rules are already written for it.
Yeah.
The rules, you're not going to do anything new. Nothing new will come out of it. It'll just be new to Bermuda to allow that to happen. So, it's just a stepping stone. We're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by your good friend, Mr. Bascom, who picked up yet another win last night in the Major Arena Soccer League, defeating Harrisburg 8-5. We'll be right back.
We're spotlighting a Bermudian company who produces staple foods and other essential products that are integral to our Bermudian way of life and are surprisingly affordable. Bermuda's Best products started out in the late 90s with Bermuda's Best codfish, which definitely got your attention. Then came Bermuda's Best mayonnaise, matching the heavy hitters in flavor and true to the Bermuda Best formula, low in price. Further diversification has ensued, resulting in the inception of Bermuda's Best concentrated laundry detergent, a special feature this month. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the game, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. Still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda?
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
And welcome back. We want to bring in Mr. Bascom. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening.
All is well?
Well, it's good now, right?
I think we lost Coach Keita. Coach Keita, you still there? Yeah, she'll be bouncing back. Well, first of all, congratulations on picking up your third win of the season last night, playing your former team. We've got her back now. Coach Keita, welcome back.
Thank you. I don't even know what happened.
It's one of the Bascom shit up.
Yeah, I jumped off.
I got nervous.
Well, yeah. David, last night, picking up your third win of the season out of 4 games. Adversity, because you found yourself down 2-0 early at the end of the first half. You was down 4-1. Had a man sent off. A lot of issues going on. You guys were dominating possession, but lacking in the goal scoring column. And I remember you telling us before that your major concern was changing how you played, making sure that the players understood how you wanted them to play. Results are important, but you wanted them to really, really work on how to be playing. It showed last night with a comeback.
Yeah. Didn't plan to be down. Yeah. Did not plan to be down 4-1. What was explained to the players like that, we will get to that point where we will have to face some adversity, and how we're going to be having the ability to shift our mindset when we are behind, and having the ability to shift and control the mindset. And voila. The goals that were scored, we gave up one goal. Young man Francis scored a great goal from the left side. But what happened is that we controlled the game. The goalkeeper was playing very well. We had 17 in the first quarter, and we just couldn't finish. But then what happened? There's a complacency that got set in. I sensed not so much verbal frustration, but a physical frustration because the ball speed, the execution was going too slow. It was easy for him to create the chances, but the one word that I told him, it has to be conviction. You cannot have the goalkeeper having more conviction than you, and that's what happened. His goal was to keep it out of net. I knew we have the talent, and it was just a matter of being patient. And that's where, as a coach, I cannot get myself overly worked up as long as they're focusing on target, on the system, the structure. So I cannot overcoach. I had to be very calm. So inside of me, I was boiling up, right? Because I said to myself, now this is not happening tonight. Oh, no. Because I always have to forecast. I go by each shift, each quarter, then your outcome. Yeah. So it was a lot. It was a lot. Halftime was a little different. I told him, I said, I'm just going to breathe first. Allow me a few seconds to breathe. And one of the things that I was drawing concern was the young man that got sent off. Very, very good player. I prepared my players mentally strong enough for that not to happen. I explained to them that this is going to be an emotional game. This is a team that they want to get us to that place, Harrisburg. So my concern was that was a big concern. And I kind of ran a little crazy. But it's okay. And I told him it's okay. Lessons learned, and we keep moving.
Coach Keeler, before you jump in and ask a question, I wanna actually play that part of last night where the player got sent off, and then you kind of grabbed the players together, and I just want to find out from you, what was your message to them at that time? So let's just play a clip of last night, and
we're going to see a red card.
A red card.
The Blast had been shown a red card. I believe it's Pereira. I think Jawan's night's done.
Done, yeah. He came off the field after that injury, made a gesture towards their bench. Looks like the referees caught sight of it.
For a gesture? Can't recall ever seeing a red card for a gesture. Can you, Tariq?
No.
That's an automatic power play.
you seem to be very emotional there, Coach.
Yeah. I was just reminding them of how, 7 or 9 of my players are champions. And I had to explain to them how they got there. I had to take them away from the emotional setting that Harrisburg was trying to get us at. One of our players, one of our soldiers are down, and that's how I look at it, right? And I said, this is what the type of game, okay, that they wanted. What you didn't see before then, when the player went down, I walked all the way across the field because I can sense frustration with him. One thing I told my players that I got you. You don't worry about it. Let me take control of it. And as soon as I walked away, and that was the frustration, he just lost it a little bit, right? And that was the concern. So there was a sense of trust, and I wanted to trust me. So we had that conversation. I was making sure that the players understood that it was 3-1. We had some control because we was controlling possession. The ball wasn't going in for us, and that's okay because it's going to come. Our team's very conditioned, and I knew by time we hit the middle of the third quarter, I've been watching hours and hours of game tape. And I watch a lot of game tape. I break a whole team down. I know. And so I've already seen Harrisburg going through that condition by the middle of the third. I knew we was a better conditioned team, and I knew that was the time. Just keep it close. Yeah, and we get opportunities. So that's where it's at. It's very tough when you lose a good player, but I always know is that my team has some depth. But then when we lost another player the same quarter through injury, I said, okay, so I had to shift around some players. You have to manage them, right?
Mhm.
I had to manage the game.
Coach Keita?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
How you doing? Hi,
I'm
coach.
fantastic and yourself. Before we get started, on behalf of the women's national team, we offer you our condolences
Yes,
to you and your family. I have 3 questions. When a player gets sent off, do you have to play a man down, or you play a full complement, or you play the rest of the match a player down, like in regular football?
Yeah, what happens is that in the indoor game is that once a player gets sent off, he has to leave the field,
Mhm.
and then he misses the next game. But you get a blue card. Yeah, so you have to
Okay.
play short for 2 minutes. This means my special team had to go out there and play. After those 2 minutes, one of the players who served in the box would just come out and play.
Okay, so you're back to even numbers with your players.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you answered 2 of the questions I wasn't asked. How many games he has to miss? And how did it feel? I mean, they played against Harrisburg before, but you know that's our team. You know that was our movement. You know, Harrisburg Heat that was us. So I mean, I couldn't lose last night. But you know, how is it for you as a coach, coaching against a team where you had some really memorable games?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's that's where I started, right? Playing in Harrisburg, that started my career. It's it's been a long time. I probably played against them about 20, 30 games now against Harrisburg. It's a different makeup, different personality there. It was probably the battle. It's now more rivalry on my side because the coach of Harrisburg actually played for Baltimore.
Oh, well.
Yeah, Pat Healy, right? He played for Baltimore, ended up there coaching. So that's where the battle came. I can tell you 2 years ago, just before COVID, wow, it was heavy. I mean, there was, physical, verbal. It was very, very heavy. I needed to make sure as the leader, I had to make sure that I don't push myself to that. I cannot get in those battles. It doesn't make sense. I really need to keep my group focused because I'm changing our whole culture and climate here.
Yes.
And it was very important that I lead by example. And I told my players their responsibility has nothing to do with you don't get on the referees, you leave them. That's my job. I wanted them to respect. People come. Everybody was masked up. We was fortunate to be playing in our arena with the rise of cases here. So when people come out, they want to enjoy a game, and they don't want a bad movie. So I was very pleased with how we played, and we got a lot more work to do. We got 2 games this week, which is important. We go to Dallas and then come back across and go to Utica in a span of 3 days.
How do you? I mean, your games are televised. How can we watch your matches in Bermuda?
Yeah, they're about to sign a big deal with a major television, but right now it's on MASL TV on YouTube. All the games are streamed live. Mr. Bailey, I think you guys put the game up, right? Well, I know I can tell you there's one person.
I'm putting them up each time they play it. So.
Well, I can tell you that one person that watches the game, I think is having watch parties, is my father.
Okay, I bet.
Looking for everybody and just having them inviting them over. So, and he enjoys it, and I'm glad that he gets a chance to enjoy the game. And I know some people's probably trying to figure out is that this game, it's an indoor game, but the systematic play, it's a game that calls for a lot of structure. As a coach, you really have to be spot on. It's a game about mistakes. And as a coach, you really have to know how to manage. You have to know how to manage. But let's put the game aside, is coaching pros, coaching players who get paid to play. Wow, you're dealing with personalities and you got to make those decisions. And the one thing I did tell my players is that I cannot get myself in a space where I become a fan of you. I have to be your coach. And that's the difference between coaches and fans, is that because I cannot get emotionally connected to you when it's coming that time if I have to release you. So it's this professional. This is not easy, right? Being the head man in charge, it's not easy. And the amount of film I have to watch, I mean, I can tell you is that like tonight I got to watch another 3 hours of tape, and I break down everything, every player. It's everything, the referees, because I have to make sure my players are prepared.
So you say you watch. You don't have a team of individuals that help you watch these videos, and you kind of give them an idea of what it is that you're looking for. Because at the end of the day, you know, that's watching other teams is key. And I can't wait until me as a coach can have that. Like, you know, we're going over to play against Jamaica in a couple of weeks, and I'm looking. I mean, I can find matches that they played, but I can't find anything that they played in the last couple of months, you know, and I probably ain't looking hard enough. But to be able to watch those and then, you know, prepare your team to play against your opponent based off of what you've watched in a short period of time, because I'm sure you're watching game footage for the teams you're playing this week. Do you get time to? Well, you'll have time to train before your next match for that game. How are your players? How do they buy into what it is that you're trying to get to do against an opponent if it's somewhat different to what you've been doing all this time?
Nah, that's a great question, Mr. Biz, and I'm sure you are the proof to my craziness over here. Coach, here's what happens, right? Is that I have a performance team. Sergio is my performance coach. He deals with all the anaerobic and everything is data collected. My assistant coach that I call Coach Neto, he's the one that breaks down. I may give him and say, Neto, I want you to break down. Let's say, for instance, this weekend we got 2 games. I will have Coach Neto break down the players from the first game while I give the review from the game we just played. So my whole week is structured. I have a day 1 to 5. My day 1 is usually going over goal kicks and set plays and so on. Day 2 is the preparation. Day 1 is also review. I review the game we just played, and then we review the game that we're about to play. So we break down all the players on the other team, right-footed, left-footed, personality traits, and how we're going to actually play against that player and how we're going to play against the team. Now, in all my structured days for the whole week, we train every day, 3 hours a day. It's day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And each day is a structured process from blocks of 6, okay, from warm-ups, performance. So, for instance, let's say Harrisburg, right? Harrisburg, I knew it's going to team that's going to be high pressing me, okay? So, in my day 2, it was probably where I worked on high press, breaking high press. I will bring that forward to day 1, right? Because that's most important. Also, the culture of the environment that I'm in, if I know that I want the players to kind of break through execution, there'll be posters up, there'll be banners up, everything around the training session based on that outcome of execution. So I'm building the culture so that it becomes a trained behavior. So because I have my structured days, I may take my day 3, which is offense, and bring it to day 1, depending on how much time I have, right? So that's how the structure. How do they buy in? The first thing that has to happen is that they're not going to buy in just from they come to training and it all has to be, they have their binders, they have their folders. I've been able to get them to understand what the season's going to look like, what the expectation is going to look like, what the outcome, proposed outcome, what the objective, and then I have to incentivize this process. Though they're getting paid, I have to incentivize this process, right? And get them to understand the difference between results and opportunity and getting the results in the opportunity. So there's a difference. So once they start seeing this change, it was wow. Yeah, we're just adding on to why we won 9 championships. So it's, and you got some players that would take that time and process, but they can't take too long, right? Because that's where I have to make decisions. I want them to be a student of the game. The one thing that I've done very well is to be repetitive and to make sure my players know how to manage the game. Because coach, we can't play form, right? They have to know how to manage. So in our coaching, we have to be patient. We cannot give them all the answers. We have to see if they're learning the process that I'm putting forward.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we'll finish up this chat with you, and then we'll get into our picks for next weekend. We'll be right back.
John Barrett & Son, Bermuda's foremost distributor of fine beverages, is bringing on the joyful festivities this winter with Barrett Stone Ginger Beer. We've extolled the virtues of this traditional Bermudian drink before. It's refreshing and spicy and wonderful in the kitchen. Google cooking with ginger beer and you'll be amazed by the diversity and wow factor of the recipes. As our good friend Bruce Barrett says, bubbly, tasty, full of spice, refreshing and exciting. When it hits your taste buds, mate, full flavor is igniting. Lynn knows. Why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the game, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. Still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda?
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
Coach, after the game, you had well, you do it at training where you guys get together, and the player that was actually sent off is standing next to you. What were you guys trying to do at that moment to ensure that when you left, everybody was on the same page?
Yeah, this is our restorative circle. Yeah, we restore after every training. We give thanks after every training. We give thanks before the game, and we give thanks after the game. The young man standing beside me to my right is the young man that got sent off. And he was so hurt. He felt he let the family down. He was emotional. And he called for the restorative circle right there. Usually we'll do it in the changing room. And it was time, because when one fallen soldier speaks up, and the family has got him. And it was very powerful, very powerful. And he knew. And he was so emotionally drawn. And we knew we had to come together and keep him moving. When he came out the second half, because he got sent off just before half, and I watched him in the back as we was coming past my, our actually area where we, where the guys switch, the bench. And when I saw him, I just had to grab him. And I just hugged him, and I said, everything's going to be okay, because I knew he meant it, and he knew that, this is going to be, a learning situation for him. But I'm very proud of him, because it's tough to put your hand up, and that's where we're showing growth. And this is what I'm building here, the family environment.
It was interesting to see that when players were celebrating scoring goals, they actually went to where he was to make him feel part of the team. That what got you, man? What got you, kind of thing. So. It was good to see the unity.
That's a beautiful thing, right? Because and it's a restorative circle. I never thought about it. We finish up our games and stuff, and we come together at the end. But it's something I'm definitely going to look to utilize to just reel everything. Just center everything, bring everything back to center, and then regardless of result. David, I know that our last time we were on here, I remember you speaking about football in Bermuda and saying that we got to focus a little bit more on opportunity as opposed to result. Unfortunately, there aren't any persons coming to watch our players to offer opportunity. So result it's what drives them now. My question would be for anybody, I could be asking this question for anyone out there listening, what would be a way for our young men, like in light of everything that's happened in recent weeks, we got to save our young men. Like, what can our young men do who's playing week in and week out that probably deserve an opportunity, but there's no one coming to Bermuda to grab these guys off the field and give them this opportunity? Sort of what happened way back in the day when you had All-Stars at PAC Field. You had tons of coaches and the game is growing so much globally that they don't have to come to Bermuda anymore to get players. We still have some that's going off, to the UK, to boarding schools and stuff like that. But for that player that is at that age right now, that's not going to boarding school, that's not going to UK, is not going to college, that still can actually play. You got players down here scoring goals, so much talent. How can they get an opportunity so that they understand that you're playing in Bermuda for opportunity, not so much a result? Because they don't have any.
Yeah.
Result is what's driving them. Winning the league is what's driving them. Beating the team next weekend, that's what's driving them. Not the opportunity to play, because they're going to play, right?
Yeah.
A lot of our boys, men, don't play the national team anymore because for that very reason. Like, I'm just playing for the national team. Whereas for me, that should be enough. They want opportunity. Like, what would be your advice to get them opportunity? Is there anyone, even opportunity with you and your team? Like, what would it take? That's my question.
Yeah, let me, Mr. Bearden, we got 2 minutes because I know you like to rush me off because this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that's a very important question. Is that okay? Because I know you got things on your plate that you have to do.
Go ahead, Mr. Baskin.
Coach, let me be very, very careful in the way I use this opportunity and results. When I'm talking about opportunity, I'm talking about the club providing opportunity. I'm talking about the coaches providing an opportunity for our young players and our players in general. What do I mean by that? I mean is that this is a time for a young man and a young woman to get an opportunity that we as leaders to teach them how to lead, an opportunity to teach them how to grow, an opportunity to teach them, they come into this game so they can learn a new craft, right? It's so crucial. If we don't provide this learning opportunity for them, they're only going to look at results. And results come with many things, okay? Let's take a good player. What else are we giving them? What else are we giving that young man, right? Are we teaching them how to lead? Are we teaching them, are we creating job opportunities and career opportunities? Are we teaching, are we giving these things, right? So my professional players, they're going to learn the opportunity to show growth in the game. My job as a coach is to develop the things that they don't have because they're not going to become great on their own. It doesn't happen like that. So this is where opportunity lies. Now let's look at the other process. Man, we're looking at clubs that's been around for so long in Bermuda, and we're looking at the men's club. Now, why hasn't each club provided an opportunity even to kind of with this growth for their own players, right? Why they have these partnerships, but see what happens is that I don't want my players to think is that it's talent alone that's going to move them because there's many things that's been displaced. Yeah, the social dynamics, the education structure, okay, and why haven't we embraced this and put into the learning of the game? Right? So why is it my young people is that they're only looking for that result because I'm a talented player. I want to go. I want this chance to go play pro. It doesn't work like that. And I'm being very honest with you is that a lot of players have come up to me and a lot of players have been cut. And they go back because they haven't developed this kind of understanding is that you're coming to an environment. Don't just think you're good enough because and then use the excuse because it's the indoor game. It's football. It's a game. And even when I go outdoor, they got the same, it's too cold, right? So I kind of think the clubs in Bermuda to really, and coaches understand, shift their mindset, right? And let me tell you why I'm saying this. I've been watching the local game and especially I'm watching the results. There's an inconsistency. To get a high standard of the game in Bermuda, you cannot train twice a week. It doesn't happen. It's not good. It's not going to work, right? You're going to have a lot of inconsistency. So in that time, we need to find things to do that's going to grow the player and encourage them to want to be a part of the club family. It's bigger than just the game and it's bigger than just us. That's what I mean by opportunity.
Okay.
And that's very important. But to the other side of it, they just got to email me. They just got to connect with me. Coach Bascom, I don't, so that's why I want these games to be played more. That's why I'm sharing. We have some players right here now is that a lot of my players are going outdoor USL. We have the connections, but I like when they transfer through the indoor, even if they come to train, because I get a chance to kind of break some of the bad habits that they have. Yeah. So, so I want to kind of be very clear with that understanding and opportunity, because my job as a professional coach, I have to be able to continue to grow my players. And that comes at a task because a lot of them think that they know the game already. Mr. Bearden, you've been up here. You know it's not easy.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Keita.
Play at the second week.
I'm still waiting for my invite, Earl. I keep hearing that you've been there. I ain't been invited yet.
Play at the second week. Hey, the referee's whistle was still blowing, and he didn't take his stuff.
No, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. Yeah, Basin got a chance to see a lot, and he's gonna get a chance to share all that because it's important that professional coaching and coaching professional in a professional environment is not easy. And you have to because you have to manage. You have to be a manager. You have to really understand. Like right now, I'm looking to hire more players. I have to be very strategic. I just can't take any player. It has to make sense. So good players out there that I just will not touch because it doesn't fit into my model, right? And this is gonna be some work. This is some work. So I'm glad that people in Bermuda are getting a chance to watch this and see behind the scenes, as Mr. Bays is going to be sharing at some point. You know, and his caught some stuff. I didn't realize how much he told me I need to. He had to bleep me many times. So
I'm sure.
I'm very passionate. Listen, I'm very passionate, and I mean no harm. But the one thing is, if I can encourage any coaches in Bermuda, for one advice I can give them, is that I want them to do two things. One is that the goal scorers always seem to get all the highlight. I want them to appreciate the defender that makes a good tackle. Use your voice as you do when that ball goes in and tell them awesome job, tell her awesome job, right? The midfielder that the passes a great ball through the channel. Use the same voice for them as well, right? Because sometimes it's very tough when they got to look at the newspaper and the name may not be there. Okay. The other thing is that, you know, when you got to look for an appreciation, I want you really coaches to really understand is that I want them to be patient with themselves and don't get caught up into everything else. Okay. And stick to the wicket, right? Stick to what your integrity, stick to what you believe in. And whatever you have direction, it's okay. If it doesn't work, don't worry about nobody else. You just put your hand up and you walk away and says, yes, I done my job. I tried. And that's it. But you live with it, right? Because you're only human. You will make mistakes as long as it's for the integrity, for the club, the franchise, and the win. That's all I got to say, Mr. Bays. And I'm sorry. I know you're rushing me over. You're not in your head.
I'm not rushing you off. I'm going to include you in our picks for next week, and hopefully you do better than you did the last time because you only got 2 right.
Listen, those picks were very successful because
you got 2 right. Hey, but the funny part is, let me show you. The funny part is,
Rangers
he was the only one that took Rangers.
That's right.
And Rangers beat Eagles.
And Rangers is probably hoping I take them again.
Well,
they should have helped you took them this weekend.
I don't know if you're going to take them this time because they're playing North Village.
Oh yeah, no.
So let's get into our picks for next week because obviously there's got to be a lot of makeup games. There've been a handful of games postponed. But looking at next week on the schedule right now, Somerset Eagles are hosting Robin Hood. Now, Keita, you and I talked about this just now. One of these 2 teams, it's a 6-point swing. If they lose, if they win, it's a big one for them. So we'll start off with David. Somerset Eagles are at home to Robin Hood. Somerset Eagles are 2 points behind Robin Hood in relegation. Robin Hood are on 8.4 from the bottom.
Nah, I gotta take Robin Hood. I got to. You know, I gotta take Robin Hood. Yeah, you got some players on that team that know how to win games, and this is a time for them. I'm taking Robin Hood.
Okay. I'm actually going to say this one will be a draw. Coach Keita?
Robin Hood for me.
Mr. Bays is a draw. Yeah, that's offensive.
Draw. Okay. Well, I know where you two is going for this one, and we're all gonna take the red and white because North Village are at home to Southampton Rangers. Rangers are coming off of a thrashing from St. George's today, 8-1. North Village had picked up 7 points over the Christmas break. Streaker's injured. Streaker's injured.
If it's injured, it's not a good.
You think he'll patch himself up for that one?
Streaker would have the game of his life next week.
Well, I would take it. Coach Keita, you're taking Village?
Oh yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Is this a night game? A day game? Night game?
Day game. Next Sunday.
Okay. If it was a night game, I would have took the game may start, Rangers may start losing, and the lights will go off. I would have said game postponed. But it's a day game. I'm sorry, Streaker. You guys, I gotta take Village.
And I'm taking Village as well. The final Premier Division game for next week is Devonshire Cougars are at home to Crossroads. I'm taking Devonshire Cougars.
Yeah,
Coach Keita?
Devonshire Cougars.
Let me just enlighten Mr. Bascom. Crossroads lost 7-2 to Dandytown today. So it's either Cougars or Crossroads for you. I know you like to change things around.
He likes the badge.
I like the band the last time,
And they were purple.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Listen, I got to be mindful because teams get upset. I mean, people's texting me, "Oh, thanks for choosing the other team," and it didn't motivate them because they still lost. However you want to go, coaches, and get upset with me, it's okay. But I'm not taking Crossroads. No, that's my area, man. That's the whole.
Okay. Now we're going to the first division, and the first match, going to go with Bascom here. Hamilton Parish, the league leaders, are facing third place Hamilton Parish.
No.
I'm sorry. Hamilton Parish is facing Social Club. Social Club at Police Field.
It's Coach in Paris, Sergio.
Yeah.
I take him. I'm not doing draws. I got no time for no draws. Yeah, I'm doing Parish. I go in Parish.
Coach Keita?
I'm in the Parish.
Yeah, I'm going to take Parish as well. The next game is St. David's versus Island Rangers, and that's at Lords in St. David's. Coach Keita?
Yeah. Go St. David's, mate.
Billis.
Don't know if it's watching, but I'm St. David's. Somebody will tell him.
Okay. I'm gonna take St. David's as well. I think Island Rangers have run their ship for this year. David?
Yeah, I'm going with my Mohawks. I'm going with my Mohawks.
Oh yeah. You can't go against your home.
Can't go my home. Yep. Isn't your brother down there? Isn't Coach your brother's there doing something? St. David's or no? St. George's?
Patrick's is St. George's.
St. George's, okay.
Yeah, Patrick's St. George's.
Yeah. Okay. Boulevard versus Vasco, and that's at BAA Field. I'm taking Boulevard. Coach Keita?
Boulevard.
All right, I like that you get all excited. You get all excited. Like when you have a sure pick, you want to go first.
I do the rotation.
He gets so excited. Like he don't want nobody else to pick first.
Rotation.
Like so he don't feel like he's following the leader.
It's done
right?
in rotation.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Are you going against the team you played for?
No, that's not gonna happen. I go Boulevard. I'm just following the leader.
I don't know if you remember playing for Boulevard. It's been so long.
No, you need to stop now. You know, I just found out that you played goalkeeper.
Late in my career.
What was your stats? Like, was you a good goalkeeper, or did you just like? Was you good? Or?
I don't know. What do you consider good?
You don't know.
I didn't let him many.
There you go. You're a good goalkeeper. Let's go with that.
I didn't let him many.
No, I use it. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm not talking about primary school. I'm talking about like, did you play like Premier and First Division?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Blue and yellow, Coach Keita. Blue and yellow, Coach Keita.
Yellow, yeah.
Van's got to start watching this show. Now, Van's not going to time.
Hey, Van, she's wearing light blue and dark blue. She's got on yellow and blue. Oh my gracious! What? That red's going. That red is going. Now, who's texting you, asking you to ask me about goalkeeping, Mr. Baskin?
Nobody's texting me. No, I just
Mr. Baskin, listen. I know who's texting you. Okay. Hey, and guess what? I let in less girls than he did in his entire career of goalkeeping.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. What I'm saying is,
because you keep looking at your phone.
I only asked you this. No, I'm actually doing something else. But I only asked this question because I know when you came up here, you was talking about goalkeeping, and I know you're only like 5'2". So I was not sure on as far as your height. Is that like I wasn't sure if it was primary school, it was elementary. Like I'm not sure. I'm trying.
Yeah, I actually played in the Premier Division in Gill. Yeah.
For who?
St. George's.
Okay.
We didn't have a goalkeeper, so I took it on.
Well
Okay,
done.
thank you. That's all I needed to know.
All right, well. Who's next? Who plays
The
next?
last game is Wolves and BAA.
Ooh.
Wolves and BAA. And David, you're first.
I'm trying to be rude. See?
You can't go against your brother.
You don't think so? Why are you trying to tell me? Can you let me? If I'm coming on as a guest, you cannot tell me what to do. Let me.
You can't go against your brother. You're not going to go against. You're not going to go against your family dancing, David. You can't go against your brother.
Listen,
So-
let me tell you something, right? Yeah, I'm going for my brother. I'm going for BAA. I'm going with my as Maceo would say, my heart. Where is he tonight?
He had
Yeah,
something.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the work.
Because I was about to tell him a couple of things about himself, so that's good as working. I'm going for BAA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coach Keeler?
That one's tricky.
She wants to go BA, right? But she don't want to go. She wants to go BA. She wants.
She
I'm
really
gonna
wants
go.
to go
I'm
Wolves.
gonna go with BA. But Wolves has been okay. They've been holding the own, but I'm gonna go with BA.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going with BA.
And I'm going with BAA as well.
You'll
So
help my soul. You don't even know why you picked BA. You don't
What?
have no idea why you picked BA.
I've watched them play. I've been very impressed with them.
You want me to tell you why I picked BA?
Why you pick BAA?
I picked BA because the one thing I know about my brother, after when it comes to the tail end, like the back end of the season, he knows how to keep his guys motivated and he keep them together. Some guys are going on vacation right now. Oh, I know. And in January, everybody falls off. Nobody shows up to training. Nobody shows.
Well, he had a difficult task, like many other coaches, over the Christmas break because he had an influx of players come back. And those players filtered into the team and actually made BAA much stronger. Now he has to make sure, and as you said, motivate those guys that didn't get much playing time over the Christmas break to now change gears and get back into playing. They'll have fresher legs. They'll have that much more drive to prove to the coach that you set the wrong person over the Christmas break. Those type of things. So they have a lot to play for.
That's our hope, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That's the hope. And you know what, Earl? When we get to that place, things are going to be so much better. But unfortunately, some of our players are like, yeah, well, what you going to do now? They're going. You sat me over Christmas to play them. No, they're going. What you going to do? And it should be the opposite. I mean, I know me as a player. Yeah, I've been like, I want to play. But now you're playing. You're going to play the rest of the season. Now, like you said, prove your worth now. Prove your worth. Hopefully you learn from those players that came back. It is what it is. That is just the reality of it, right? Players that are overseas get more opportunity. They train more. It's different. I had players that came back over the Christmas break too. Not quite a few girls, and you can see the difference. It's not much, but there is definitely a difference. Like David said, we're training twice a week, Donna. They're training 4 times a week, 4 or 5 times a week. It's no way there's not going to be a difference in their playing ability. Just the stamina alone, right? So players have to embrace that, and welcome it. Like these guys came back. I was happy those boys came back from North Village. They came back. They gave us something to celebrate over the Christmas break. Now you guys that's here, carry that on, carry the mantle, learn from them. Don't despise them. Learn from them.
You know what the interesting part? I'm sorry, or I just have to jump
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
All right. The one thing is that I think it's going to be very important because we have it here as well. If we know we have 30 players and 10 players are away in school, we have to keep those players connected to the ones because it's one big family. Then they can appreciate that they're coming back to get together. It's an opportunity as well, right, to get a result. So then it's one big family. So then when they go back again, it's an appreciation, right? But if you don't bond them together, it becomes that fuel, right? It's like, okay, whatever. And then they stop playing. So that's going to be the job of the head person in charge, okay? Because not everybody can play, right? Not everybody can play. So that's going to be a crucial to bond that together and keep them, because some of the players on the team probably don't even know, okay, where is he coming from? Because they know nothing about the school, they know nothing about the team they're on. So that's where they're going to keep that connection, right? So they can both grow together.
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely. Well, Coach Keeler, I know you got your work cut out for you because you're preparing the national team for World Cup battle in a short space of time. Coach Basson, you got any advice for Coach Keeler? I know you guys talk a lot, but any public advice for Coach Keeler about these international matches coming up?
checking.
He wants me to tell him something so he can
I
say.
was waiting for you to tell me. No. No, I don't have advice. I just want, the same, right? I mean, this young lady works so hard in her field. Just keep preparing, right? And keep preparing. I just want the players to understand is that the opportunities that they have, right? It's on them. They're gonna have to commit to continue to be better, okay, and continue to grow their game because it's not easy. Coach, if anything that I can say is try to get as much tools as you can to keep growing this game. Like you said, the toughest. I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't watch video and game tape. Like I will be a mess because you're going in unseen territories. You got to get. So that's going to be the key is how do you get those tools and sitting the players down because even they can't even do homework, right? Because they don't know the teams. So just keep building your performance staff, right? As best as you can. And, but I want you to get a chance to enjoy coaching. You got to enjoy coaching, right? Don't get so frustrated because I know how you are, right? Everything else is going to come into play. Just enjoy. Try to enjoy coaching a little bit, all right? And you enjoy the opportunity as well. Yeah. Are you okay? Or would you like some advice from me?
Coach Keita, let me just say, because you don't get the chance to see it, he gets frustrated too. I was in his changing room and literally trying to film, but I said I have to throw that away. I have to throw that away.
I've seen that person. Trust me.
Oh, you have? Okay. All right.
Mr. Basin.
Yes, Mr. Basin.
You bring guests on your show.
Yes,
it's
Mr. Basin.
very important that you be nice to your guests.
You
make sure they leave with a nice, a good feeling about coming back on your show.
Mr. Bascom, you have been a welcome guest on the show more than once. You've enlightened our audience.
Let me tell you people from you, right? He only calls me, man. You see, because he was like, I don't know how much I'm going to talk about with Coach Keita. So can you come on to give me like?
I would believe that.
So I came on.
When did I ask you to come on?
Because I know people try to hear me. So I do appreciate everybody have to stomach me for a little bit, but this is Mr. Bazin.
When did I ask you to come on?
Mr. Bazin, I greatly appreciate you being on the show today.
That's why he won't answer it. Because he didn't know what time I told you that makes you work.
All he does is send people links. Hey, can you jump on at 5:30? A link. Donnie asked what I'm doing. A link.
I asked you yesterday what you was doing. Because we didn't get the coach we were looking for, the local coach we were looking for.
I like how you have to explain because you know.
Yeah,
I always appreciate
transparency. Okay.
The people watching is waiting for something else to come out of your mouth. Can you continue the show, please?
Well, no. Well, we're wrapping up the show.
Oh, we're wrapping up. Good.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you very much, Mr. Bascom.
Yeah,
I know this week is going to be a very emotional one for your family. We want to wish you all the best. And we're here to support whichever way we can. Obviously, safe travels to you on your way to Bermuda, and we look forward to just helping to celebrate the life of your nephew over the next few days. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And Coach, I know you've been texting me, and I do apologize, but I'm just trying to take some time.
No. I understand.
And I really, really appreciate the country for the backing of my family, the support you're giving Carla, my brother Herbie, the whole family, the Fogo family. So I greatly appreciate it. Like you said, right, this is a time to continue to empower, right? We empower, and we can also empower through sports. So everybody down there, I want my young men and young women to enjoy the game and have some fun in it because we're only passing through. Yeah. I appreciate it, bro.
Folks, with that, good night.